to share with you just a few words about the Parshat Vayigash. We have the very emotional encounter of Yosef with his brothers when he reveals his true identity to them. And the language of the Pasuk is Velo yachol Yosef lehitapek lekol hanitzavim alav. He could no longer hold off because of everyone that was there. And therefore, he just opened crying and he said, Ani Yosef, ha'od avichai. So, Demesh Chochma, the fascinating Or Tzameach from Meir Simcha Duinsk, he writes, he says, Velo yachol od Yosef leitapek, that he couldn't hold back, is mashma, it indicates that he really wanted to. He wanted to hold back, but he couldn't. So therefore he did what he did. So asks the Meshech Chochma, what did he really want to do? What was his plan A? L'chatchila, what did he want to do? And he writes, he says, he wanted to still hold off, keep Binyamin with him, and send the brothers and say, bring your father now. He knew that Yaakov Avinu was not going to take this sitting. He would come himself with the brothers, and he would bow to Yosef, completing the prophecy, the chalom of Yosef, that the 11 stars and the sun and the moon are going to be mishtachavim li, are going to be bowing to him. That would complete the prophecy of his chalom, of his vision. And according to some, this would have been completing a certain element that would stop the future galuyot. But nevertheless, Yosef, and he felt that Yaakov could withstand this. Nothing's going to happen to him, he's not going to die. But says Meir Simcha B'Devinsk, he says, Lo yachol Yosef lehitapek lechol hanitzavim elav. He couldn't do it because of lechol hanitzavim elav, because all the Egyptians were there. And here is Yosef. He's known as Ish Asher Ruach Elokim Bo, as a spiritual leader, not just a smart man that was capable of running a country, but they looked to him as a leader in spiritual aspect, in moral compass, in an otherwise immoral society of Egypt. People looked up to him, and he couldn't let that down. Because Yehuda just made such an emotional plea of begging him, look, my father's going to die. This is the only brother that's left from that mother, from Rachel, and it would be so cruel for Yosef to turn that down and say, no, I'm keeping Binyamin. He couldn't do it. In front of the Egyptians, it would look as careless as someone that doesn't have emotions and doesn't care. And he couldn't do it. Lo yachol Yosef leitapek. Why? Lechol hanitzavim elav. Because of the Egyptians who were there. He couldn't turn it down. Sometimes you have a plan A, but certain things happen. They say you have to always have this compass. It's a delicate balance. Many things in life are like this. They have to say, you know what, this is my passion, this is my plan, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it because of the way it looks, because of the side effects that's going to have. Here Yosef was willing to give up his prophecy, something that for 2+ decades he waited for, patiently. Didn't reach out to his father because he waited for this nevuah to come true. It meant a lot to him. Otherwise, he would have sent a message to Yaakov years and years before, saying, I'm alive. He waited because he felt that this was a prophecy, and yet he was willing to let go of all of that because he was looked up to as the moral compass of the society. And this would be viewed and perceived by people as immoral. Sometimes a person has to be able to sacrifice their goals and plans and aspirations because of a greater good, because of how it affects other people, because of how it seems to other people. We all speak about Chilul Hashem and being a light to the Goyim, or Lagoyim, to be the moral compass, a lighthouse in the otherwise darkened world of immorality, a world that runs after values that are not necessarily Torah values. This is something to be careful. This is something to be mindful, that sometimes you have to sacrifice even the things that you like for the better, for sake of a better good, a greater good. And the greater good sometimes is selfless. Yosef is not standing to gain anything from this. It's just that he felt the achrayut, that people look up to me, and I have to live up to that standard, even though that they're wrong. What I'm doing is the right thing. The nevuah was like this, but sometimes you have to be able to put that down and be a leader that people could look up to and say, Avdi ata Yisrael asher bcha etpaer. Hashem says, you're my servant that I'm proud of. That pride comes when a person is sensitive to other people, to the situations. And this is something that is not just for ourselves, it's for our families, for the children that see that moral compass, that balance that the fathers and mothers have when it comes to what really is important in their life. What they're willing to give up for what is really what sets the values in our lives. And B'ezrat Hashem, we should all be zocheh to that. Amen. K'ni ratzon.